This is part 4. I didn't expect to be making part 4 of this. But there's a few things I want to investigate. I want to try and see if there has to be a hardware problem here. I'm deciding to go back to basics and do what my Apple training told me to do. Why is Apple training important and this is a PC? Well, simple. What it reminded me of, which is any good troubleshooting step for any machine, remove all unnecessary hardware and test. So usually in the case of that was mostly laptops, but those iMacs and other things. Remove all unnecessary USB devices, whatever. In the case of a Mac Pro, it's remove any extraneous cards. And in this case, it's exactly the same thing. So what can I eliminate from this? Well, that's required. That's the graphics card. The disk controller card I'm willing to keep in for the moment. But the network card, the sound card and the USB card can be eliminated. As well as these drives, like the extra things that I've got in there. I'm just going to pull their power, to be honest, because it just means they'll be deactivated pretty instantaneously. If it works, well, we'll keep them out until Windows 98 is loaded. If it is, then we'll just add them back, and of course the plug and play aspect of Windows 98 may just pick them up and everything will be fine. But yes, so let's get to that. I just want to bring a little bit of attention to this. This is the connector where the optical drive and zip drive would connect into. Currently it's only got the optical on it because I'm experimenting, it wasn't long enough. It is directly underneath the card, and generally to get that in again I have to pull the card. But what I find is that the actual graphics card edge appears to be resting, or is it? No, the heatsink is resting on the actual connector. And there's really only so far that's going to go. Visually, it might be my imagination, but it almost looks like the graphics card isn't all the way in. So I'll try readjusting that first. I'll pull this out, put it in the secondary controller. It really doesn't matter because it'll still be red. And then we'll see if that makes any difference. If it doesn't, we'll move on to the next bits. Looks like I pulled a little too hard. Oops, cable's still in there. Okay, so off we go. Everything is exactly the same as it was, other than the reseating of the graphics card, as it was last night. But everything's still working, for the most part. Okay, start with CD-ROM support. I have to say though, the graphics card really does look like it's sitting flatter in the whole thing there. Okay, so it took a little bit while longer to get there, but I'll just test that and I'll report if it works. If it does, I'll be jumping for joy or just sitting and appreciating it from afar. No, it's exactly the same. I'm completely frozen out, can't do anything with this. Alright, you asked for it. It's time for the hardware removal. Alright, there's the hardware. And there's the PC with most of it removed, also things unplugged there. Please work. Here we are, everything's working. Well, it's online and not doing something stupid. Press the enter key. Now this is not any different. In fact, it's worse. What is going on here? I'm wondering if it's just a case of it can't find the space. Surely though, if it couldn't find the space or couldn't deal with this, then it would offer to reformat it, wouldn't it? I'm going to try reformatting this externally. Because interesting, when I unplugged the wrong cable, I actually unplugged the power cable to this on a run through that I didn't show you. That seemed to proceed absolutely fine. It was trying to do a hardware check, said it couldn't detect a volume. Fine. Alright then. There are alternatives to this that I do have, and I'm going to try them as well. But let's try reformatting this first. Now, I started to use a tool called Aume, or Aume, I don't know how to say that, Partition Assistant for just reformatting it, but interestingly Windows has popped up saying that it needs to be formatted. How curious. I mean, maybe that's all we needed to do because we partitioned it but not formatted it. I didn't think that would make any difference. I honestly thought the installer would offer to format it for us. Anyway, I'll just run through it and see what happens. Now that is interesting right there. It says Some bad sectors exist in FAT table. Oh, really? Okay. Well, that's probably a good reason as to why this is happening. I'm going to try a couple of other things. Like, it won't allow me to do this on FAT32, but maybe it'll allow me to make it a regular NTFS SSD. I'll try that. Well, it took a little while, and it actually failed once with the SSD being completely rejected by the system. I took it out, waited a bit, put it back in, and I managed to format it GPT with NTFS. Now, of course, that's not going to help us on the Windows 98 machine, so I'll do a little bit of testing, and then we'll come back to it, and I'll see if I manage to format it. If I don't, I've got other SSDs, and I've got other techniques of converting them, so that might be what we have to do with that one at least. Oh dear. I decided to do a disk test, and oh, that's just awful. And this is supposed to be a SATA 3 SSD. I don't think so. Anyway, enough of this crap. Let's actually format it. Yay! Finally, it formatted it to MBR with FAT32. Right, okay, so I've swapped you over to the other side so we can actually stare at the screen this time. I'm going to run up the disk first, the actual boot disk, just so I can look at fdisk, because it should be able to set it as a primary partition now, because it'll all be formatted as only one of them. Oh, floppy disk fail, what? Hold on, I disconnected it because I needed to get the SSD out. Awesome. Okay, let's go into fdisk because I know it's on there. No. Alright, set active partition. Yeah, we want to do it. Was that it? Oh, okay. It's going to restart. So what we might be able to do is from here we may be able to launch setup. Alright. Okay, the critical step. Jesus Christ, that works. I guess so. Okay. I guess it's going to do this correctly. This may take a while, so I'm probably going to have to just be patient with this one. Well, I went through ScanDisk, and apparently it said it found errors on the hard drive. Well, there aren't any, matey. There's no errors at all. So let's just run that again. Okay. Drive D had no errors. Drive C, well, what the hell, you know? What are you having a problem with? Okay, let's go back and give fdisk one more chance. It could be that the way it's been formatted is just incorrect with the other system, and that this may be better. Yes. 3, let's just delete the partition. Well, that's it. Okay, so we're gonna create it again. Right, create primary. Yes. Yes, I do. Okay, so that looks like that's actually worked absolutely fine. So let's escape out of this and let's go back to the CD. So this should work now. That is. I'm sure it's configured correctly, so we'll do that. This card, this SATA card, I assure you has LBA. Well, you join me with more difficulties. I'll tell you what we have done. Partitions have been deleted and remade, and the SSD now functions without any errors. You can get into the installer, but another error happens. It seems I'm missing the mouse driver. I'll just restart this thing and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so we'll run the setup again. I'll show you what happens. It doesn't spaz out this time, because you do that, it launches ScanDisk, which is what it should do. Yep, that's wonderful. Exit out that. And this is where it begins to try and do the installation. That's the point it got stuck at. It's gotten past that. Error loading VGA.d... What? I wonder if this is going to be a case in persistence, because now it's not loading VGA.drv. Are you serious, mate? Hold on a moment. Okay, so while another disk burns, there's another disk I'm going to probably waste. Hurrah. I'm using something called SuperFdisk. I mentioned this before. Phil's Computer Lab had a guide on it. And this should allow me to legitimately and properly format the hard drive to a single large partition, because it seems to be limited to about 17 gigabytes or something daft like that. Oddly enough, I didn't actually realise it was an ESUS product, or ESUS, or whatever it is. I don't know how you say that. So I've wiped out the disk partition. I'm having to use the keyboard because it can't load the mouse driver for some reason. Or maybe I did it wrong, I don't know. So I'll try and load that in, get it formatted again, and that'll be it. I had a devil's job trying to create the floppy disk for it, but eventually I found one out of my collection of crappy disks that actually works. Yeah, see you in a bit. Alright, here we go, trying it out again. I mean, the disk's going to be damaged. I've still got to do the other disk. I just haven't put it in here yet. So I just want to see if it actually accepts the drive, because if it does, that's fine. We'll just go ahead with it. Oh, looks pretty good. It's going right ahead. Haha! Fantastic. Alright then. Yeah, well, we knew that was going to happen. The disc I've put in there seems to have problems. I mean, what do you expect? I use those cheap disposable CDs. I'm probably just going to throw them all out. They've probably all got rot on them by now. Anyway, yeah, let's load the other CD and let's test it out. Alright, new disc, new attempt. No. Okay. I literally didn't have time. I was just waiting for the right moment to try and turn this on. This is different, because I didn't use a boot disk. I went with my new CD. I realised, of course, that was from the image that I first used that was bootable. So I decided, no, why am I using a boot disk? Let's just see if it makes any difference, and, well, there it does. I haven't seen this screen ever during all of these tests. Setups are preparing to install Windows. This is actually genuinely exciting. To continue, press Enter. Okay. Oh, wait, actually... Oh, I don't know. Oh, you're such a tease. No. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to trace this whole MS Mouse error. This is the disk image I used. And, well, if I go into the 98 folder, indeed, there's this thing here, which I've seen on the internet is apparently where on Windows 95 it's located. If I look at this, oh, would you look at that? MS Mouse 31 VGA.drv. What is going on? It's clearly there. I'll check the disk. So I checked the disk and it's on there. So I'm reburning it again using a different program. This copy of Windows 98 is looking very tempting right now. Currently at 99 pence. Ends in 2 days. I don't know. I'm going to try and go on Vorgons or something and see if anyone's come up with that problem, but some other forums seem to suggest it almost could be this still. So even though this is perfect now, it seems to be functioning 100% wonderfully, this system of going via a card to an SSD like this is probably just too stupid. I don't know. There is one way to test though, but I just want to see if the disk does anything different, because, you know, I'm here for a while, I can waste the time, I guess. So I was going to post on Vorgons, and I did actually have the post ready, but then I decided to check an idea out. Now, it might be because this SSD, given that I had some issue with it before, even though it seems to be fine now, might be the problem. So I decided to try a mechanical drive. Now, I don't have any drives that are appropriate, because as you see, this is a 500 gigabyte. Now, I know what you're thinking, that's not going to work. Well, what I've done is I've partitioned it off, hopefully correctly, and yeah, so there's about a 100 gig partition on there. Maybe it's the fact it's an SSD, maybe it isn't. Next, I'm going to move on to connecting it directly to the controller up here, and being that it is a SATA drive, I do have an adapter that I can sort of kludge in there somehow, because I don't actually have any IDE drives that work. I mean, I could go ahead and try my other SSD, the M-SATA types that fit in these adapters, because this is ready to go, this is an alternative. Let's just try it. Well, that failed as well. So I'm going to try the other idea with this thing. Some cheap-ass SSD that I was going to use somewhere else, because I don't really have any other IDE drives of any kind, so I pretty much have to use this adapter. It's looking less and less likely to actually work. There we go. Slightly different adapter, but it already had the jumper mode selected, so I just thought I'd just keep with it. It's going to be put in the system after I remove that. Not very pretty, but I guess if it works, it works, right? Okay, been here many times, been disappointed. Come on. It formatted correctly, it didn't even show an LBA error, it was brilliant. It's been the best so far. Please do this. Okay, scan disk. I don't mind. Good, good. You found it. Oh my god. Are you telling me that's all it was? Seriously? Oh, I'm going to install this Mama Jamma. Now hold on a second. I know what I was just about to do. I was about to install it on this, because we got a bit of a win there. Windows 98 is about to install, but I just wonder if I can use my card after all, but if I've converted this so it's to, it's basically doing exactly the same as it would on this arrangement. This adapter does exactly that. It just takes SATA, gives it to IDE. Well, this does the same. It turns SATA into IDE, but it's the laptop style. Well, this device then expands it out to the full size IDE. I'm getting experimental now. If this works and it installs and runs, I'm going to try then putting this SSD back on the controller card, and if it works, I can boot it up, read-write privileges are fine. That's how you do it. Let's try it. Change of circumstances, had to use a different adapter. Things weren't quite working out and everything is just absolutely messed up in there. But yeah, we're going to reconfigure a few things because the drive wasn't detected. Might still be the Hypertech. I don't know anymore. And here we are again. So, okay, it's not the Hypertech. It is maybe the card, but it may still work when reading, so I'm just going to progress through here until we reach an interesting point. I've gotten to the stage where it asks you what to do. I think we'll do custom, because I don't really want all that other rubbish on there. Don't need that. Ooh. Actually, do we need this? No, we don't need that. Accessories, details. That was an interesting thing, but no. Light calculators, we don't need that. Want that. Games, yes. Don't need imaging. Mouse pointers. Oh, you've got to have paint. You've got to have... It's the law, isn't it? Quick view. I never knew that had that. Screensavers, why not? Don't need that. WordPad, sure. Okay. Let's have a quick look at address book. We don't need that. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Other computers and online services. Well, we don't need that. We might need that, we might need that. Yes, fine, whatever. Microsoft Chat. We might need that for other computers. Dial-up networking, oh, okay. Net meeting. No, don't need a phone dialer. Don't need that. Desktop themes, oh, go on then. We don't want internet tools because we're not using this for internet. Multi-language, no. Multimedia. Well, we don't need that. We probably need it for playing back though. We don't need a CD player. Might we need these? Possibly. We'll have that. Don't need sound recorder. Might need that for playing back. Online services. Oh god, no. Don't need any of that. Goodbye. System tools. Backup. Might be useful. Character map. Sure thing. Clipboard viewer. Disk compression. Okay, yeah. Drive converter. We might need that. Could need that. System monitor. Yeah, let's have all of that shit. Why not? Web TV. No. And off we go. Right, computer name. Oh, I've got the keyboard down here. Oh shit, what did I do? Hold on. Computer name. Yeah, it's just the 98 machine. Nah. Keyboard layout, United States 101. Well, that's completely wrong. British. There we are. Regional settings. English, New Zealand. English, British. There we are. Thank you very much. Awesome. So this is actually working now. I'm so happy. Yes! Not over yet though. So I'm not going to make you sit through this. So I'll come back when it is time to launch. It says 25 minutes, but I doubt that very much. See you in a bit. Right, it's getting ready. So we start now. It's going to be fun. I think it's just still going into part of the setup, so it's still going to be like blue and taking 25 minutes apparently, but it won't. Oh, I haven't seen that logo on a native machine in absolute years. It's pretty good. Pretty good to see it again. Haha! Type your name below. Well, don't see why not. Yep, whatever. Oh, product key. This is an interesting one. Give me a second. I've just got to find a completely legal product key that I can use. Yeah. Okay, so that's activated apparently. Finish. Initializing driver database. So this is probably going to be something we're going to have to do later because all the components virtually have been removed from this. I should have maybe put them in, but I had to be sure that it wasn't any of them throwing it off. And it seems possibly not. So yeah, they'll go back in at some point. I'm just, you know, trying to get this up and running. It won't take 14 minutes, but I will be back with you again. Oh, actually, maybe I won't. Maybe I won't go away. I'll stay a bit. I think this could be the final stretch. I'll set that up again properly later, but hey, there it goes, Windows 98. Still not done. I thought it was honestly finished. Ah, okay. Needs the... It's perfect. Actually, that is absolutely perfectly fine. I've just checked my phone, but I'm not in Tier 1. Or Tijuana, how you pronounce that. Greenwich Mean Time, Edinburgh, London. Is it the 10th? Let's find out. Because my days are all messed up. Yes, it's the 10th. Excellent. Oh, you know when the drum set comes up, it's nearly ready. Forgotten about that, actually. Right, this is the home stretch. Come on! Again, optical drive will have to be adjusted to not be the first boot device, but we will do that. Doesn't matter. Oh! Yeah! We actually did it. The Windows 98 machine is finally here. Yes! Let's not celebrate yet though, we've still got to try and get it back on the card and we've got to sort that old mess out. But hey, look, it's booting, it works, look! It's fantastic. It's just buzzing away, doing its thing, I guess. I wish we could hear sound, because then we'd hear this thing. Don't worry though, this ain't the last time we're going to be seeing this. Holy crap, we've actually done it. Let's see, what resolution can we go up to? No, that's pretty much it until we get the correct drivers installed. But now comes the critical thing. Does it work on the card? I don't know. I'll shut the PC down and then we'll find out. And I'll also put all the rest of that other gubbins back in there because it's a mess. Okay, so the Hypertech card is connected back to the disk controller and the other optical drive that was on the top has been removed. They're the only things I'm putting back, because if this does read and write, perfect, we'll just install all the other hardware. If it doesn't, we'll install the hardware differently. Just got to check the BIOS, going to make sure that all is well, because I've just got to... Yeah, okay, so that's definitely no longer detecting a hard drive. That's actually a good thing. So that's all wonderful. We can switch that over as well because we actually do have two again. Off we go. There's the controller. Hypertech. Can see the SSD. Wonderful. It's updating itself. It's manifest. Give me a moment. Okay, after much swearing, it's all back in. It doesn't look particularly tidy in that heatsink. It's getting nowhere, but I've tested a few things and it does seem to work. Of course, I'm going to have to swap out the optical drive to reinstall the operating system, which I don't really mind. Because at least I know what's what now. So I'm just going to put that on the floor and then I'll meet up with you once Windows is back. Boy, what a beast this thing is. I hate you. Well, we're back. Everything's all buttoned up. There it is down there. It was a long road, but we got there. And now a little word on the next episode. Yes, there's going to be one more. So when we come back, we're going to do all the software, which includes drivers, because, you know, the graphics on here are a bit, everything's a bit big. The hard part's over. We finally got it to work. It's a shame we couldn't use this thing, but I mean, we tried it, but even then it wouldn't actually load up after we'd installed it. So instead, I'm using the top half of one of these, and that thing I showed you. So yeah, the Hypertech SSD was not the problem, but I'm not using it anyway because I just wanted one adapter rather than two. It does mean I can actually get rid of 2 bits of cable, which is, I suppose, kind of nice. I did put a fan speed reducer on the CPU fan because that's actually a little shrill thing. That's also contributing to the noise. In closing, thank you very much for watching if you did. Have a nice weekend. I'm going to go to bed, it's like past 4 AM.